Cheech here with Fly Fish Food with Skill Builder 18. These come out every single week, so subscribe right now. Today we have differences between normal CDC and CDC Puffs, and we're going to talk about the Hareline Feather Prepper and the Hareline Clamp System. It's not just your normal chip clip.
That's a big
CDC. You hear that term all the time. You may be an experienced tyer, you know all about it. You might be new and you've never heard of it before. But essentially it's a feather on a duck that produces that's near the gland where the oil is produced. And it has a bunch of tiny little filaments and it floats really, really well. That's kind of all you need to know about CDC from the science standpoint. The term CDC as well as French, it says it means col de canard, which means duck arse. Okay, so duck butt feathers. That's where the gland is where you pull this. We get asked all the time the different types of CDC. We're going to talk about it today. So here we have just like your standard CDC, which is just like any other feather. This is the most common kind, and then we have CDC Puffs right here. We're going to kind of break these down very simply and show you when you would use each one. Okay, first of all, I'll start out with puffs. As you can see, let's see, I'll move these over here. The puff looks like that. It's just like a little clump of CDC. So if you took that in your finger, you could tie that on like an emerger wing. You could take like two of these, tie them in at the same time, and use it for a parachute post. So what that's doing is it's just got a whole bunch of CDC all in one little clump like that. So you can use that for all different types of things. I typically use them for dry flies, little emergers, or parachutes. So the thing about puffs is you can't like put it in a CDC tool. You can't wrap it around the fly. That's when the standard style of CDC comes in handy. Now, there are a lot of guys that even have different designations for this type of CDC, but for the most part, let's see, I'm going to get rid of that. It looks just like this, okay? This is a decent quality feather. And, you know, CDC, there is kind of a shortage right now. But, you know, if you can find good quality CDC, it's going to look roughly like that. You've got, you know, a bunch of little tiny filaments, pretty full feather. And this allows you to either pull the fibers off the feather. I could take a clamp, come in here, clip those off, and then I have fibers I can put in a dubbing loop. You can take all the feathers and preen those forward, and you can tie it in kind of like a puff, but it's not really as bulky as a puff. And then also you can tie this in and wrap a body with it. So the versatility, it's for this, you know, the standard CDC. The puffs are kind of just when you want a clump. So if I have I have the Hareline Feather Prepper. The coolest thing I think to do with CDC is put it in a dubbing loop. And this, you can't do it with the tufts, and you know exactly why after seeing this. But if I just take a piece of CDC and push that down into this feather prepper, I can take and trim that off. I can grab the CDC like this, so just like the Swiss clamp, you're creating, you know, that into a dubbing loop. There are tools you can use to grab this and clump it all up like that. So to make a clump out of this type of CDC, you kind of have to go through a process. This is automatically clumped, but this is more versatile. Hopefully this dispels some of the mysteries about the different types of CDC. Again, you can get really techy about this stuff, but for the most part, it's puffs or it's standard. Cheech here with another cool skill builder. We're going to talk about the Hareline Feather Prepper. I have to cover up what's under here because it hurts too many feelings, and I wanted to reveal it now. Yes, the Swiss CDC clamp. The tool that has hurt more feelings in this industry than any other. But we're not going to learn about that today. We're going to show this. You remember when I did a video about this tool, and if you haven't watched that one, you should go check it out, that I used a piece of Mr. Clean Magic Eraser foam stuff, and I made a kind of a feather prepper. And so Hareline made this awesome feather prepper. On my foamanizer kit, I have a bunch of magnets. I put a little magnet in it, but these are like $7. There's old Uncle Cheech saving you money once again. You know, this was the feeling herder because people, see that it's, cost $120. JK, $40. 44, I think. Anyway, we're going to show you a few different options. All right. Let's start out with CDC. That's the most obvious one. I have taken 2 pieces of CDC, and for time's sake, I have stacked them on top of each other. We have like a mustard yellow and a pale olive. And so what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, if I grab these by the butts and by the tips, which one will it most likely fit into? And I'm just going to go like this. Fits right in there. So you see it does the same thing, maybe even better than that, the old like Petitjean tools where you had the table and you had to set it all up. This has multiple lengths in one tool. So all you do here, this is how I like to do it, just cut off the butts or the excess, and then you grab it with your favorite, tool and pull it out. Now these, we're going to do a skill builder on these as well, but these are awesome. They have a really good grip, and you just clamp it and you pull that out. With CDC, you just come in here, cut that, and now we're in for a dubbing loop. I'm going to save this clump of CDC for another video. Marabou. Marabou works really, really cool with this. And you can just go right down here, the biggest one. It's a little bit of excess waste. You could find a better way to do it. Let's see, let me get rid of this. And this one, you would need to get it in the clamp because the Swiss CDC tool doesn't have enough depth to grab this. So grab a longer one. Again, we're going to go into the sides here, grab all that really good grabbing strength. Man, I'm making a mess here. So look at the waist off of that marabou. All of that is now in here. So you could clump that all together, make a tail. You could do all kinds of stuff with that. But we have all the good marabou. We'll save that one for another video. And now, finally, rabbit. So I was messing with this one the other day, and I realized that this one works excellent. So what I'm going to do is just put the leather here. I kind of fold it on top of itself and just start sliding one side in, and it slides the rest in. Now this could be a game changer because we did a whole video on how to get that much rabbit in one of these clips, and you have to basically be Edward Scissorhands without the scissors, just like lots of fingers. So again, clamp that across, and if you need to, you can adjust after the fact. So anyway, this is a super useful tool. I've used it with all kinds of different stuff, but it comes in a half size and a full size, and you can even use it to prep feathers and line them up so that when you're tying, you just grab one clump at a time. So super useful tool. Shout out to Hareline, and it is black on black, but hopefully you got the picture. There you go. We have a skill builder on how to use the Hareline feather prepper, and I kind of wanted to separate this one out to show these Hareline material clamps. Okay, now it's a super cool tool because we talk a lot about the old Swiss CDC clamp. It's like $45 for one clamp, and the functionality of this is great. You can tell it's designed for fly tires. It does everything awesome. I like it a lot. This thing is actually a lot more than meets the eye. I mean, it's got a funky shape, but as I started using this, Hareline actually really thought this through well. It's super easy to use, and it goes in conjunction with the feather prepper. So what I'm going to do is I'll just show you real quick on the feather prepper how to get a CDC feather good. We do have another skill builder video on the feather prepper and a few other things you can put in it. But I just lined up 2 CDC feathers, both the same color, and I have another clump with 2 colors in it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and find a slot that's roughly the same length as the feather and trim that off. Come in here with my prepper, or the material clamp, sorry, and pull that out of there. The amount of grab and the foam is perfect, but here I have a good amount of CDC in this. If I can farm that out of there. So what I'm going to do is when I trim that off, I like to come in here from the tip of it because I have more room to get my scissors. And you can notice this bend right here is critical. It makes it easier to hold the handle out of the way while you're cutting with the scissors. And it's probably the easiest of all of them to put the fibers into the dubbing loop. So let's just make a dubbing loop here. Close it off for good time's sake. And let's see, what am I playing with today? The Smayan twister. So watch this. With the D-loop tweezer, you kind of have to put the handle really close in to get it to go. Because this is bent how it is, my hand is out of the way, and I can put this CDC way up close. This loop's way too long. I don't know why I made it this long, but it is what we're working with. But you saw how easily that went in there, okay? So, twisting that up, we're in, okay? So, that's a pretty simple CDC dubbing loop. If you're a Euro tire, you know, you put a lot of CDC on the collars of your flies. These Hareline clamps are just as good as anything out there. And I think for 30 bucks, you get 2 of them, okay? So this is what comes for 30 bucks. If you have a buddy and you both want to save some cash money, this is a good way to do it. If you ever need, let's say, to grab the butt side of this and have just the long part be the longer feathers, you can come in here and pass these back and forth between tools. Sometimes when you're tying different colors or adding things to your loops, it's important to be able to come in here and grab onto this and transfer tools back and forth. Anyway, it comes in 3 sizes. So in the skill builder right before this, in this same video, we did the feather prepper, and I show how to use marabou in the feather prepper, and this is what it looks like in the clamp. Now that's pretty much 2 full pieces of marabou all in one, you know, loop. One thing that's cool about this one is, let's say like for the mini Cheech Leech, I want marabou in there, but I don't want it to be this long, okay? So I could come in here and grab this, brace it, move this out a little bit more, let go, and now I can trim it. So you can see that now I've shortened that marabou. I'm actually going to have to hand adjust that. I cut that a little too thin, but you can see how easy that is just to hand adjust as well. So that's why you would need both of them. If you ever needed to grab onto it, re-grab so that you can trim and make these pretty much any length you want. All right, let's put this on a fly and then we'll call it good. We'll say that you know how to use the Hareline clamp from this day forward. Right, Brigham? I think he's on TikTok right now. He's doing some dance over there or something. I don't know you. All right, so we'll make a dubbing loop, close it off, and wrap forward. Now, same program, right? Because of that angle, I can just jam it right in there. My hand is away from the loop, and we are in. So that's a real thick glob of marabou. So if I wanted to make that maybe a little more sparse, you can just distribute that with your fingers. Okay, the tool's not going to help you do this, but good steady hand will. All right, so here we go, twisting it up. It's going to mat down, that's fine. We're just going to grab our trusty comb, give it one of these, and it's going to brush all out. Super, super nice. So I mean, look at that body. You could do like, you could even trim it down so short that you could do like a little leech body with this. But anyway, that is a filthy, filthy marabou brush. Just because you have, you know, the clamp tool, the feather prepper. But anyway, that's a super, super cool tool. I'm just going to do a quick and dirty wrap, and we'll comb it out again and see how we can get it to look. It doesn't look very good right now. If you spend a lot of time preening this all out, you can get it to look real pretty. But I like to just wrap it up dirty and then comb it out after the fact. So you can see how gnarly that wrap forward was, but we got almost all of those trapped fibers out of there, and it's super durable because it's twisted up. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Sorry about the hanging bob, and we told you it was going to happen again, and there it happened. But let your imagination run wild on that. Run mild. Let your imagination run mild, boys. Oh my gosh. That needs to be a t-shirt, dude. Let your imagination run mild. Anyway, there you have it. If you like these skill builders, if you're learning anything, please subscribe. If you have a friend who sucks at fly tying, you need to subscribe so you can send them the links. All right, I've been sending these to Brigham every single week. So check it out. We like making these for them. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, put them in the comments.